received the latest...
U.S. President George W. Bush says Tuesday's deliberate and deadly attacks against the World Trade Center in New York and the Pentagon in Washington were more than acts of terror.
They were acts of war.
The Democratic leader in the U.S. House, Richard Gephardt, agrees, saying, in times of national tragedy, Americans have always come together.
Make no mistake, this was an act of war against the United States.
The infamous Arab terrorist, Osama bin Laden, has emerged as the #1 suspect behind the attacks. He has repeatedly vowed to seek revenge on the United States. Repercussions from the attacks are being felt in Arab American communities. Dr. James Zogby heads the Arab American Institute in Washington.
We don't know who did this, and so there's no reason to speculate, no reason to accuse. There is simply time now to assess and mourn, and then begin investigation.
The U.S. Secretary of State, Colin Powell, in effect agrees, saying he expects support from Arab countries as the U.S. moves to ascertain who, in fact, is responsible for Tuesday's attacks.
At least they are stunned and find this to be a deplorable act. I think they are speaking not just as leaders, but as leaders of people who, although some might rejoice and shout, most find this to be deplorable and something to be condemned.
President Bush says the American people need to know the U.S. is facing a different enemy than it has ever faced. Prize-winning historian David McCullough says Americans have to educate themselves about, in his words, these people that so despise them.
We haven't seen such destruction as this on our home ground since the Civil War, over 100 years. We're not used to it. We're not accustomed to it. The shock is not just the scale of the violence. The shock is that it happens here, in our country.
In the words of U.S. Senate Majority Leader Tom Daschle, the America in which we woke Wednesday is far different from the one in which we woke Tuesday.